各位观众，大家好，欢迎收看本期的 CCCTV 国际电视周刊。全球油价的持续走低，让加拿大石油产业遭受重创。同时，一场史无前例的森林大火，更是让加拿大最主要的产油基地阿尔伯塔省雪上加霜。加拿大石油业的前景到底如何？是否更加应该关注亚洲，包括中国市场呢？加拿大国际电视台专访了石油协会主席 Tim McMillan， 听听他对于石油业前景的判断和解读。一起走进今天的热点聚焦。
So, Mr. McMillan, welcome to our TV station.
Great, thank you for having me.
Okay, so can you tell me what kind of speech you will make in the event?
Well, I represent the upstream oil and gas producers here in Canada. We have made a conscious effort that in Western Canada, in Alberta and Saskatchewan, British Columbia, we produce a lot of oil and natural gas, as we do off the East Coast, but large parts of Canada don't know how we operate, don't know the businesses that we're in, and it's an opportunity to talk to people in Toronto, people in the Chinese community about Canada's oil and gas opportunities.
Oh, that's great. I know as the CEO of CAPP, can you give us a predict of the Canadian oil industry in the future? Because nowadays, it's like the oil industry is going down.
Absolutely. The price of oil and natural gas have both dropped substantially in the last couple of years. We've seen it bounce back, and it's on its way back up. It's almost twice the price it was in January. Globally, we've seen, because of the low oil prices, capital has pulled back. But medium term and long term, Canada has a great opportunity. We've got the world's third largest reserves of oil. We've got several hundred years supply of natural gas. And we have opportunities to grow our economy and invest here. So the future, I think it's very bright, but we have a couple challenges ahead of us, and that's getting pipelines to serve new markets. And China would be one of the most important that we would like to connect with.
Okay, so as a consumer, so I always, worry about the price so we can enjoy. I think last year the price is lower, so we are happy with that. So can we enjoy? You said you predict that the oil industry is going up, but does that mean that we cannot enjoy the low price anymore?
Potentially, I think we should expect that the global price of oil is going to rise somewhat from where it is now. And if it does, that will be reflected at the gas pump. But I think another advantage we could have with more pipeline access is in Western Canada, we get less for our oil than what people in Ontario have to pay to import it from places like Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. So if we could connect Ontario and Eastern Canada with the Western Canadian supply, we could start to see some of those advantages here within Canada on the price side as well.
Okay, so tonight you will talk about something about the Asian market, right?
That's right. In the entire history of our industry, we've only ever had one customer. We have sent every barrel of oil that we didn't use to the United States, and they've been a good customer. But if we look into the future, the growth markets are going to be in Asia, specifically China. And today we don't have an ability to get our vast resources to that market. We've got a lot of investment. The Chinese are some of the biggest investors in our oil sands. And I think it would serve Canada well strategically if we could connect that resource with that customer.
Okay, so do you have any suggestions for the government or for the industry how we can, get into the huge market in China?
It's all about putting pipeline in the ground. And in Canada, we have a very robust regulatory system. The National Energy Board looks at the science and engineering of all these projects. It takes several years to work our way through. And to connect with China, we have a couple projects, Northern Gateway and Kinder Morgan. One has got both have approval from the National Energy Board, and Kinder Morgan is waiting on the federal government's cabinet's approval by December. So I think it's a time for all Canadians to show support for projects like this. It's something that governments have to approve, but as an industry, we want Canadians to support it as well.
Okay, so there is always debate that should we open our resource to Chinese government or to China? So what's your opinion?
I would say that today China is one of the biggest and most important foreign investors in Canada's oil sector. And I think to this point, that has been very helpful in growing the industry here in Canada. But something I certainly hear from officials, Chinese officials and companies, is that they would like to have access to getting the products they produce here in Canada and potentially linking them to their customers back in China. So if we want to enhance that and get more Chinese investment, I think that is a legitimate request that they're making.
Okay, so I have one more question.
Sure.
Is that, there is a rumor that the Ontario government will eliminate gas furnace to the electric one. So do you think that's a good idea?
Actually, I had the opportunity to sit down with your premier last week.
Okay.
And we talked for about an hour. We had a roundtable discussion. And she was very clear that natural gas is an important part of her energy plan going forward. And that, in fact, she's looking at new communities that are today not serviced by natural gas, and how they could ensure they got access to it. So it's certainly something we're looking at very closely, but we're very relieved when your premier was very clear that natural gas is an important part of Ontario's future. We, for too long, have been focused on ourselves on Alberta or Saskatchewan or BC, and we want to be very open in reaching out to our fellow Canadians in Ontario and Quebec and other parts of Canada, and it's a great opportunity, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim McMillan 近期举办了一场名为“宏观加拿大未来能源经济”的讲座，吸引了许多即将毕业的大学生。他希望在未来能够有更多的年轻人投身于能源产业。各位准毕业生们，不妨考虑一下。